The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What's up? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline. It is Wednesday, April the 2nd. I'm Nick Eatman. It is time to talk some Cowboys football with you guys. Want to hear from you. 888-855-2297. This weekly show, still not getting used to it. It feels like, when's the last time we did a show? Well, last Wednesday. But, and not that so much has happened, but we did have the NFL owners meetings in Florida this past week. And Jerry, Steven, Brian Schottenheimer all talked a little bit. Got a little, I don't know if there was any news that came out of it. No big surprises. I know Jerry had some interesting things to say about Micah Parsons. We can talk about that. Micah Parsons and his agent and all that. Nothing's been settled, though, from that. Obviously, no new contract there. And no big moves has happened. I don't think any move has happened since then. I don't know if the Cowboys have signed anyone or lost anyone. Maybe I'm missing something, but nothing too memorable. But let's talk about it a little bit. Sorry, Chris dropping news here for me. Let's go to the phone lines and get it started here. Sebastian in Savannah, Georgia's first. Sebastian, what's up?
Oh, snap. Wait a minute. I'm first. I just told Mr. Beam in the back. I said, it must be my birthday.
Is it?
No, it's not. I just threw in like a couple of calls, and I was in the stock market before I called in and actually hit a nice trade. But how are you doing today, Mr. Eatman?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great today. Happy to be on the show. Shout out to the Storyliners and everybody who makes the team this year for the All-Storyline team. I'm very excited for all you. There were some great calls this year, and there was some great participation from all of the new people, too. To the football side of things, since we're talking draft right now, you know what? I get the feeling that we're going to reverse what we did in the Zeke draft, and we're going to go cornerback and then a offensive weapon. I don't know for sure if we're going to get the runner in the second round, but the runner could actually stretch to the third round. So that second receiver being such a sneaky need, they might go cornerback receiver.
Yeah.
In the first 2 rounds. And then one thing is you're on the Micah Parsons contract, and there's something that irks me about Micah Parsons' contract versus like other people's contracts. The whole is he a leader thing. I don't agree with that, Mr. Eatman, and I'll tell you why. Are you the top 5 player at your position? If so, you get the money. That's how I feel about it. If you're a great player, I don't care if you're a leader. As long as you're not a cancer to my locker room, I would pay you, right? You pay men like Dak Prescott, who aren't the top 5 players of their position, but they're great leaders. You pay them the big contracts for being a leader. I don't need Micah Parsons to be a leader. I need you to go get sacks. I need you to stuff the run. And I need you to be one of the best players at your position going forward, like J.J. Watt and Barrett is. Garrett. I said Barrett. Miles Garrett is. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel like he has to be this great leader. There should be other people to step up and be leadership on the team from the other side.
Yep.
If he doesn't become that, he doesn't become that. And that's always irked me that people's like, is he a leader? And should you give him a contract if he's not a leader? If he's not going to show up on time, he shows up in the game. That's how I feel about it. You have a great day, sir.
All right, thank you. You too. That's kind of a tricky one because, I'm not comparing him to Terrell Owens. Okay, I'm just saying I'm giving you an example of a great Hall of Fame player who was not a leader, but yet those type of guys. You said I don't need you to do things. I need you to show up in the game. Well. The problem is that everybody in the NFL thinks that they are a great player because they were in high school and they pretty much were in college and now they're in the NFL. So everyone has pretty good confidence about themselves and what they can do and think if they just get the opportunity, they're going to go do it themselves. So my point is that if one guy doesn't practice a lot or study a lot or whatever, but goes out to the game and he can do it because that's how good he is, that's not necessarily the way it works for everybody else. But yet it's kind of hard to do that and hard to say. It was always hard for Tony Romo to tell Terrell Owens to, run it again, false start, do it again. Pay attention. Don't fall asleep in meetings, things like that, because you had a combative personality. You had somebody that would cause even more problems in the locker room. And so, yeah, he could get it done on Sunday for the most part, but it wasn't doing all the other things. And is that good for Patrick Creighton? Was that good for Sam Hurd? Was that good for, the other receivers? I can't even think of Jamaica Rector. I'm just some random receiver, from that time, that was the young guy that's looking up to these players. And so if Micah Parsons isn't getting it done in every way, is that hurting everybody else? Yeah, he can get it done on Sunday, and he does. And I that's why I said it's tricky. I somewhat agree with you, because you don't necessarily have to be a leader. Larry Allen was the greatest guard of all time. He wasn't a leader. I don't know if Tyron Smith was a leader. I'm not really sure, but you lead in different ways, and you do have followers, even though you're not necessarily a leader. You have some followers, and are they following the right thing? So, not sure exactly what Jerry meant by that comment, but I'm with you on, if you can get the job done, you deserve a big deal. But also there's some other things about it that you have to make sure he's doing the right way, or that all of them are doing the right way, because whether you're a leader or not, people do follow you, especially when you play to that level. All right, let's go to Carolina. He's in Carolina, I believe. Carolina?
Nope, I'm in Tyler, Texas. What's up, Nick?
What's up? I didn't get that information. All right.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Okay. I'm wonderful, man. I want to kind of follow up a little bit on what he was saying, not about the leader part, but about the contract thing, right?
Yeah.
So I've been, hearing a lot of things on, the news, sports news, but everything you hear is not true. So what have you heard about the Jerry going to directly to Micah Parsons, trying to get the deal done without the agent?
I think that's Jerry being Jerry. I mean, I think that's the way it's always been done for him, and so, a lot of times that's and let's not act like there's not been other players that appreciate that. A lot of players,
like Zach Martin, he just without the agent.
He just said it the other day. The agent's there for the parameters and all that stuff, but just sitting down and saying, hey, let's get this done, and that's, from my understanding, that happened, and they nearly got a deal done. But you got to remember, in life, everybody's got an agenda. Everybody has their own agenda to do something. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that's what's good for them. And I guarantee the agent doesn't love that. No agent probably loves that. But they're gonna like the big payday, and they're gonna like what it comes from them. But anyways, what's your point on that?
My point is, so now we heard Micah say, "Oh, I want to get it done. I want to get it done." So I just want to know what is stopping him from getting it done. If Jerry's coming to the table and offering you that type of money, and you're, I'm going to take the team-friendly deal, I want you to help out with other players. I just don't understand. If he's coming to you with the money, why not just go ahead and take it? Because now, if he takes it, that frees up some more cap space, and then maybe we could go get that number 2 receiver that's probably left out there for the free agency. So I'm just a little confused. Why not just go ahead and get it done? You know what I'm saying? You said that you want to make things better for the team. They're trying to get you out the way. I mean, what's the holdup? I mean, of course you're not Micah Parsons, but I sat there and thought about it. Well, if he really wants to get it done, why not just get it done? Is there some things in the contract that just probably didn't sit right with him, or he just doesn't fully understand what's going on? So he wants his other guy to look over it. I mean, this could be so many different things.
There's a bunch, and a lot of times it's just the things that we wouldn't think are big deal that are kind of the hang up here. And it's like I said about agenda. This agent, it's important for him to make the deal right and not. They don't want to do a team-friendly deal. They want to do a fair deal that will be a top 5, top 3, pass rusher, defensive player, whatever, set the market that way, because there's 3 or 4 other contracts there that are hoping that this agent doesn't mess it up. Don't mess it up now. Don't mess it up for me, because I got to pay my guy in 2 years, and I want to make sure that you get Micah the money that he gets. We don't need no team-friendly deal. Get the deal done right, so in 2 years, 1 year, whatever, then I can go and say, see what Micah got? Boom. and then
You know,
boom.
that's crazy, man.
But that's
because
what
Mike
that's
is
reality.
saying
But
he wants to do that. So why would you not let the man get what he want to do? That's the thing
people that smoke and drink say they want to stop smoking and drinking, but they don't. You know, you know what I'm saying? That you can say that. Everybody says they want to go on a diet and start working out, but that doesn't mean they all do that. And so, yeah, I want to get it done, and I want a team-friendly deal. I don't think there's anything friendly about this deal that's going to happen. What is friendly about this deal? I don't believe that it really is. I don't think that it's going to be unless it's some 9-year, 10-year deal. And I don't see that happening. I think, just like Dak did, I think they're going to get this deal done so they can get another one. You know, and I don't think
that makes sense.
Yeah, so I just don't see a lot of this being that team friendly. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't say I want to be a $200 million player and it be team friendly. It's not going to be.
It's not practical.
No, it's not practical. But I'm not taking shots at anybody because I don't know the situation. All I know is that they're trying to get a couple of things accomplished, and those two things aren't easy to do together. Is do something, that helps the team, and also do something that sets the market in a different way. And it's usually can't have one with the other, in my opinion.
So my last one, right? So say they do get this deal done within the next week or two. Do you see them going to acquire that second receiver spot out there and with a veteran presence in free agency? Because, I mean, if you do that, now you're up to $50 million, in cap space. Of course, you got to put away about 15 for the draft or whatever. But that still gives you, 20, 25 to sign at least a 2-year deal with I would say top receiver, but a second receiver. Now, you know who's out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you see that happening if they get this deal done before it's time for us to go into the draft? And that's all.
All right, thanks for the call. I don't believe that the Cowboys have to do anything with Micah Parsons to do what they want to do. I don't. I think they can go and sign who they want to sign. I think they could make a trade for whoever they want to trade for and absorb that deal. And as I said last week, I still think that's probably the route that's going to happen. I don't. If you look at the players out there in free agency, wide receiver, I don't think that those are the ones that gets them excited. I think if they're going to make a move, I think it'll have to be with a trade. And then to do that, you have to absorb a contract and depending on what it is. But so I think I don't think they have to do the Micah Parsons thing to get that done. They don't have to do anything with Micah this year. So when you ask the question, why is it not getting done and all that? Because I don't know if anybody is at this deadline where this has to happen, So, the Cowboys will franchise him, and I don't think Micah wants that, but that's the card the Cowboys have, is they can franchise him. So, anyways, we'll see how it plays out. It's not the first time we've seen Jerry kind of take shots within the media during negotiations. It happened with Zeke. It happened with Zach Martin, of all people. It happens. So when you start asking Jerry questions about it and the deal's not done, it happened with CD. Let's not forget that, too, at training camp. So it happens, and deals still kind of get done. All right, let's go to Michael in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Hey, what's up? How's the hardest working Cowboys employee?
I haven't talked to him today.
I'm talking to him now.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I'm doing good. Thank you
Chris
very much.
is fine? All right.
Oh, okay. Hey, all right, first of all,
that's true.
I believe, I agree.
Yep.
I believe Matthew Golden is going to be the number 12 pick for the Cowboys.
Okay.
He's going to be their number 2 wide receiver. But I have a scenario, and I want you to tell me if it's in any way possible. All right. I really like Parsons, but we trade Parsons right before the draft starts and are able to get, his name's escaped me, the wide receiver, cornerback, Colorado guy.
Wow. Travis Hunter?
Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. I guess I get nervous when I talk to you.
It's all right.
But we trade Parsons for the pick to get him. But the only way we can do it is we have to be able to get a top-ranking or high-ranking edge rusher to replace Parsons in the draft. So we're going to have to Kevin Costner it. Is it possible?
You're talking about the movie Draft Day, where you just make this big trade and then trade
Yeah.
and then come back and say, I want my picks back because I feel like it. Yeah.
Every day it works. We get Travis Hunter and not the highest edge rusher, but a top-tier edge rusher. And we got Travis Hunter, which fills a wide receiver and a corner need because he can play both, and you get another edge rusher. And then the whole drama with Parsons is over. But I do like Parsons. I'd rather him stay. But is that possible?
All right. So for that scenario, you're talking about trading him for like the number 2 pick, 3 pick, whatever, wherever you feel like you could get Travis Hunter. So probably maybe number 2. I don't know what else you get. I really don't. I don't know if you get another number 1. Or if that's it. I don't know. I mean, you always hear about 2 number 1s, 3 number 1s, but for that pick in the draft, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that would be. It's tough to that now you're trying to equate, the value of a player with those picks. So if you were to do that, to go get Travis Hunter and trade him, then at 12, you're not taking Golden, you're taking an edge rusher, and
right.
So that's who you're taking. And I don't know if that might be too high, or maybe that pick, maybe you move down a little bit, 16, 17, 18 if you can, and try to get a pass rusher, but you're going to have to get one. But I don't know. It's a risky move because you have a game-changing player right now in Micah Parsons. So you don't know what you'd have.
I think you'd be getting Deion Sanders 2.0, and I just don't think if it's possible to get that, I don't think you can turn it down.
Yeah. Well,
Jerry's got a man crush on Travis Hunter.
Well, he should have one on Micah Parsons because he's definitely proven. And I'm with you. Travis Hunter is fun player to watch. I don't know. I don't know if he's Deion. I mean, I really don't. I don't know if anyone is Deion. I don't know if he's the shutdown cornerback, because that's what you have to have. You got to have a lockdown corner, and he has to be the guy at corner, and then he can also play some receiver. It'll be really fun to see what team gets him and how do they use him, because he's got really good skills. I think, and I've never said this, but I'm sure other people have said this. I think he's not Deion so much, because I think he is a better wide receiver than Deion, and I don't think he's as good a corner as Deion. So whatever Deion was here and here, I think Travis Hunter is here and here. Still great. Still great player. But then again, I think if Deion would have been a full-time wide receiver and that's all he would have done, then yeah, he could have been great. Just like baseball, probably basketball, whatever he wanted to do. All right, let's go to our next caller. Chris, if we have one, let's throw him out there. I don't even have it on the list.
It's Ali in Florida.
Ali.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Pretty good, buddy. How are you?
Good. What's up?
How is Jacob doing?
He's good. Tell
him I ordered a pizza for him. Couple questions.
A pizza?
Pizza. I know he loves pizza.
Oh, then he's doing great then. If you got a pizza for him, he's doing great.
Couple opinion and a question. I used to manage a big golf resort, and I had an attorney on the staff, yearly pay. But I used to go to him because every time we bring the subject matter, they take their time and they get between the deal, and most of the time he just screw it up. So for us to say Jerry's doing something wrong with this deal, that is his money. it's very easy to spend his money the way we want he does it. But Micah Parsons, even if you remember Zach Martin's retirement speech, very jokingly, he told Jerry that he used to go talk to him, then he getting Jerry, the agent, involved. I think playing for Cowboys, as bad as we are sometimes, you get a lot of benefit. It's nothing wrong to shake hands, give a little bit of confirmation that allow everybody else to sign. So it's easy for me to say, hey, Jerry, give him $40 million. But it's not that easy. So it's going to hopefully work out. But Micah is getting a lot of benefit playing for Cowboys because otherwise he can play for Carolina or some other team. So he won't get that exposure that he could have. Having said that, as far as the draft is concerned, I think Dak Prescott had a two major injury, and on the 12th pick, I would draft somebody to help him because he is one more injury that, God forbid, he gets, then the team goes south. According to Draft Boys, all these offensive linemen have something wrong with them. I don't know when I listen to them, they have any sure number one first-round draft pick, except maybe one or two. So regardless, I will pick somebody on the left tackle, or I will pick up a running back. Even right now, I'm looking at the Carolina, they get 1,400 points, and Cowboys have 1,200. Maybe draft exchange some from next year and jump and get the good, best versus the good. Go get Genty and then get your opinion on it. And it's nice to talking to you, buddy.
All right.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Ali. Appreciate that. The first part you said about Micah, I know you're right. There are benefits of playing for the Cowboys and the exposure, but then it goes both ways too. I mean, it's a lot more. It's more of a target on your back. I would imagine if Hendrickson in Cincinnati or Max Crosby or whatever does a podcast, they don't get as scrutinized as much as Micah Parsons does for being with the Cowboys. So I think it goes both ways. And I'm not like I'm seeing him on all kinds of commercials and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, there are benefits. There's no doubt about it. But you take the good and the bad together there. I mean, at the end of the day, he's gonna. This deal's gonna get done, and I don't think we're gonna hear much about it. And after that, and these little shots back and forth. I mean, it's just different because you've got a very vocal player this time, doing it and making, tweets and comments, and he's got a podcast, like I said, and all that stuff where, a lot of times before you wouldn't necessarily hear from the player as much. That's not the case. So I think that's what's adding to it a little bit. Again, when they want to get the deal done, they'll get it done. I mean, when everybody's feelings, stop being hurt and everyone's bellies gets rubbed and all that, and we respect everybody and everyone's feeling good about it, we'll get this deal done. I'm sure that's what's going to happen. As for the draft and trading around and all that, I've never been a huge fan of trading up, but just because the draft capital that it takes to do that, and you've already made those trades, you've already lost a 4th round pick. And so, I don't know. I think in this case, with so many needs, I'd be okay with just staying pat and just taking the guy that you need. I think any offensive lineman that you take right here should be good to go and ready to play, ready to help you. If it's a wide receiver, then he should be dynamic. If it's an edge rusher, hey, that would be great on the other side of Micah Parsons. If it's a corner, he should come right in and start. So any of these positions should be good to go if you take him at 12. So that's why I just think it's still high enough where you don't have to go and make trades if you don't have to. All right, let's take a break real quick on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back after this.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Up next, waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like mama's recipes. Take your steak, cornbread, cobbers, pot pie, and potatoes next oval with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alteclansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Altec Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
All right, welcome back to Cowboys Storyline. You can give us a call, 888-855-2297. Have a couple of callers already on the line, so let's get to it. Davion in Illinois. Been waiting. Davion, what's up, man?
What it do, my guy?
How are you?
Do? I'm good, man. Just being a good Samaritan right now, helping a friend out. But yeah, wanted to hop on and
helping them do what? Move?
No.
Just, okay.
Well, you gonna find it real funny. It's a truck broke down, so I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's crazy. Yeah. Crazy morning. But anyway,
it's a good friend. You're a good friend. Yeah.
Yeah. You look, I got a truck, so it is what it is.
Yeah. What's up,
man? I see that everybody talking about the Micah contract. I was cracking up that Jared said been chilling pretty much all off season. He said, you know what, hold my beer. I got some spicy for you. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Jerry. Let's get at it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get it going. I enjoyed hearing him talk as they shot it too, man. I just every time shot it get to going, man. It's so cool. Yeah. But let me ask you this: if you Micah though, hearing all that from yesterday, if you was Micah, how would you really truly feel?
That's a tough one because he's trying to be in the middle of this too, and he's got to give respect to both sides of this. I don't understand the tweet honestly, but then again I don't understand most of his. But he's like, there's going to be no backdoor stuff here and all this. Well, he took the meeting. I mean, like he was in the meeting, so it's not like that was part of it, and it's owner to player. Those are the two most important parts of this. So I think Jerry's doing what he's always kind of done and says, hey, let's sit down and let me hear from you what you want, because a lot of times you know how it goes. You know how it goes when you're dealing with like a boss and who's telling you that what his boss wants, but you didn't necessarily hear that. You're just saying, well, this is what they want. This is what's coming to me. So then you kind of have to deal with that. it's just better to just get in the room. You know how it is when you're trying to buy a car or if you're trying to buy a new truck or whatever, and that guy's always going to that back room and talking to someone and then coming back. No. Just put me in that room and let's talk. And I think that's what Jerry was trying to do with Micah, like he's done with all players. And, to my understanding, they almost had a deal done, and then now they don't. So this is where we are.
Well, kind of like what happened with probably Dak and all the big. It's just
sure.
I think what a question I always kind of wanted to see your thoughts on about it is I was curious about it if you wanted, because I know our fan base is be on some nonsense a lot about that. They always blame stuff on the Joneses about why contracts taking forever, and I really wish people understand it really is not. It's not always them. It's always some other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I think what are your thoughts on that? I really think that it really never really is always the Joneses to be doing this stuff. The Joneses be wanting to get a deal done. They'd always like Steven always be like, well, our door is open. Come on down. We get it popping. But I don't know. It's crazy how it's just I really predicted this contract to be done quick, and now it's just like crap.
I mean, if people could have blamed COVID on Jerry, they would have. On anything. Jerry gets the blame for anything. So we know that. We know that. And I'm sure part of it, like, this is not just on the player. It is part of it. It's like, if you want to sit down and get these meetings done, well, why wasn't that meeting done earlier? I'm not giving them a pass for that. But you're right. It does take two sides, because the very first time that they talk, they have a deal in place and they said, hey, let's get the deal done. Boom. And then the agent and the player laugh and they say, all right, well, we're not really close. And then they give an offer, and then the Cowboys laugh and they say, all right, we'll call you back. And then they shake their head and all that. And then they got to get together. So, but it does take a while. Should it take this long? Probably not. Because I think if they get in the room and figure it out, they could get it done. So I appreciate you saying that it's not just Jerry and Steven on this, but it's part of it. They're a part of this. And as Steven always says, and the Cowboys say, deadlines make deals. And until you really make it a deadline, they're not in that big a hurry, especially when they've got that card of the franchise tag. So that's what it seemed like to me. And that's exactly what I said when I heard that quote that Jerry said, and then Micah's response. I was like, WTF for franchise. That's what that is. What the franchise is going on here, because that's what's happening. All right.
Well, cool.
Davion?
I guess I don't know if you announced the other show, the second show for the StoryLine team, but if you have, I'll listen back later.
Oh yeah, you're a wild card there because you came in kind of late, but I think we've got maybe a spot. We're figuring it out. All right, Davion, appreciate the call. Talking about the all StoryLine team, and remember, this thing starts like in April of last year, like April to March. And so there's people that made a lot of calls. I've said this before. There's people I'm kind of worried about, because they called. Stop calling. And I hope it's because maybe they're busy. That's what I hope. Or they're like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to call. I don't like that anymore, or whatever. As opposed to any other alternatives there. Hopefully just busy, new work schedule, new stuff. Just can't get in, can't call. Doesn't have the same timing as they do before. But that's my point, is that there are some people that have called a lot here lately, and that's good. Some people not as much here lately, but either way, it's a 12-month thing. And that's why I've tried to put it on there like that. And it's not just the amount of calls. That's not the number one thing. It does show commitment, though. There's no doubt about it, especially with how long it takes to get in. So if you get through a lot, that means you are committed. So that it is a big part of it. But it's also the substance of the call. How memorable are you? How are people talking about you and your points and things like that? So there's a lot of factors involved here, and I'm still working on some things as far as what we're doing T-shirt wise, and maybe some other compensation there for these winners. So I would think before the draft. We will definitely have a show before the draft to announce it, 100%. All right, Jeremy in Salt Lake City is next. Jeremy, what's up?
Hey, Nick, long time.
How you
It's
doing?
been a while. I'm good. It's been harder to get in. Obviously, it's a good problem for you to have, but yeah. Big shout out to Davion. I'm always agreeing with him on the chat when we get together, the storyliners on Twitter. Last week, I think it was my fault. It got a little blue in there, and I apologize. But we're all passionate. But I shout out to Dylan and Irene for running that, because it gives some of us that don't get an opportunity to call in as much a place to get to talk to everybody and get our opinions out there.
Right. That's
as
awesome.
As far as the and like I said, I don't know if I turned you off the other. Anyway, it was cool having you on that the other night.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. So my big thing with the contract with Micah is, like, we're all so starved for football. You know what I mean? And I think it gets this way for a lot of people with free agency stuff too, is they hate hearing about other teams making deals, and so comparison is the thief of joy, right? So, like, you're trying to compare us to what the Eagles are doing and what all these other teams are doing, and it's just, I don't think it's all the time fair, because they don't have the same problem, the same cap issues, none of the 32 teams have the exact same issues, right? Mm-hmm. So we've all got our different things to do, and this deal with Michael will get done, but we're talking about a lot of money. And everybody's got to keep in perspective that this is, like, probably, I would say, up there with Dak and C. I mean, this is a very, very important contract for the whole franchise looking forward for the next 5-6 years. Whatever we do here with Micah, we're going to have to live with, and we're going to have to work around for the next 6 years. So, you know what I mean? You got to kind of fight that impatience to where you got to kind of realize everything's everything. Deals will get done. And, realize that we just want football. We just miss football, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing with the draft is another thing, I think with the 12th pick, I agree, we've got to have a difference maker. If Genty is there, you've got to take the generational talent. You know what I mean? If Tet's there, you got to take the generational talent. Beyond that, I'm cool with this, getting out of that pick and getting some more picks. But I think those are the two generational talents that we can get on offense that'll take this offense to another level.
Let me ask you this, Jeremy. Let me ask you this. You mentioned McMillan, right, from Arizona?
Yeah.
Any concerns of the video that came out?
Absolutely. I was just going to say something about that. The guy's a generational talent, but he doesn't like to watch film. And so when you say that, it means you kind of don't love football, you know?
Right.
And I think that's been our problem with some of these guys like Mozzie and, Taco. Like, their big problems is they didn't love football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't want a guy in the first round that doesn't love football. But I also think, I don't know if too much was made of that comment. I would love to hear your opinion on that.
Yeah.
Because I think he is a generational talent. And, I mean, just his size and speed next to CD has fans drooling, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure Dak, too. So, really, it'd be cool to get your opinion on that. Right. And
thanks.
Big shout-out to Davion. By the way, the dude's voice is the silkiest. He's got to get in radio, Nick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But,
Yeah,
shout out to all the storyliners.
Yeah, I could hear Davion doing the radio call, from this is smooth listening here on the on the hits at night and all that. Yeah, I could hear him playing the being a DJ. But all you guys have Jeremy, you got a pretty good voice there too. As from your point though, and what we're talking about with McMillan, and I guess the video, and I honestly am not sure when that came out. I mean, I feel like it was not recently. I think it was a while ago, where he's eating and somebody's asking him about film and all that. He's like, I don't like watching film. I really don't like to study. I don't know all that. A lot of guys don't probably like to work out either, but do they? Like do they do what they need to do? And that's something we all have to go, to learn and all that. And so a young player that hasn't ever really had to study, think about it being that size in high school and then even college, and you can go and just go make plays and all that. Randy Moss didn't study really, and Randy Moss didn't even like stretch. He didn't go through the warm-up lines like the rest of the team. I mean, I don't know if that was his entire career, but I've seen it before. I mean, it was the weirdest thing to see your whole team lined up, 50 players on the field lining up, except for him. He's just jumping around and doing his own little thing, but it worked. One of the greatest players to ever play. So if you're going to be that good, great. But I think young players can learn how to be great pros. Is it alarming? Yeah, a little bit. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. And also about his coaches and all that. But yeah, because I didn't love when Mozzie Smith made that comment, like, I don't really like football, just like to hit people, and I've said this on here before. I hated that instantly. A lot of fans loved it. They're like, yeah, that's who we need. And I hated it because it goes against what I've always said about when you win and lose games. You win and lose games on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You're really not hitting anyone there. Okay, that's when you're studying. That's when you're making sure your body's right. That's when make sure you're understanding your techniques and practice and the game plans and all that kind of stuff. You're really not hitting people. So that's when you get good. So if you're really not interested in all this stuff except for Sunday, then you're not going to be a good player. And so far, I think it's safe to say we haven't seen what made Mozzie Smith a first-round pick. We haven't seen it yet. And it's about time to show it for him and for all players entering their third year that haven't done it yet. This is it. This is the time. No more learning curve anymore. Like if you've got it in you, it's got to come out this year. And so going back to McMillan, he sounds like a great player. Sounds like he could be the T. Higgins type player to Jamar Chase, which is very, important. And that's exciting. But I don't know. They need to do a little bit of a deep dive into that comment, and also just like they would with anything, even without that comment, you've got to make that. You've got to do your homework on these guys. All right, Chris in San Angelo's next. Chris, what's up?
Hey, Mr. Nick, how you doing,
good.
Sir?
How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
It's been a while since I've talked to you, and it's been long enough that the last time we spoke, I was saying that I wasn't good on the signing Osa for $20 million a year. And since then, I've completely changed my tune. I'm thinking that is a stroke of genius now. But anyway, what I had for you is the free agent moves that they've made. Do you think that they are at this point set up to truly take their best player available in the draft? I want you to see what you thought about that. And my thoughts were, I surprisingly think that they have. And so I just wanted.
You don't think there's any position that you're like, you feel like they could go play a game tomorrow for the most part at any position? And
yeah, okay. I'll put an asterisk. It wouldn't be bad if that player happened to be a running back or a defensive lineman, but I still think that they've set themselves up.
Yeah, Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders can run the football. I mean, like it's not going to be the best 1-2 punch in the league, but they can run it. I just wonder who your left tackle is going to be. I mean, is it Tyler Guyton? I don't know.
That's a good question.
But I don't think anybody you're going to get for the price that they're looking at in free agency. You weren't going to get anybody that can, well, okay, you say that, or I was about to say that, and then I had to stop myself because actually we didn't think that signing Chuma Edoga would be somebody that would challenge Tyler Guyton, but he was better than Guyton, which is really kind of sad. So maybe you could go get a left tackle in free agency and be better than what you have there. But that's what makes me think the play at number 12 is the left tackle. That's what I would do. I would go get another tackle. And if Tyler Guyton, if that lights a fire under him or he ends up being a really good player, then at some point Terrence Steele maybe isn't your right tackle anymore. Guyton could be right, and you can figure that out. But give me that problem to have. But I think the offensive line is the play here, in my opinion.
Okay, well, I can't argue that, but my main point was who is the best player they feel in their view, and then if it is a tackle, that would not hurt my feelings.
If it's a corner, would that be okay?
That would be perfect too.
What if it's a tight end?
Ooh, well, if it's the guy,
Penn State, it would be Penn State tight end, right?
Yes. The name escapes
Warren,
me, but
Tyler Warren. Yeah,
Warren. I would. You know what? If he's sitting there,
you do it.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, but if he's the best player, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
That's why I think you set yourself up pretty well for this. For this draft, and then obviously I think that who you pick, there weren't any splash players signed. I think your splash player is probably your first pick, and hopefully your second pick because he can't mess this draft up.
Yeah. I'm thinking about that pick. All right, Chris, appreciate the call. Good to hear from you as always. If the best player was a tight end. The thing about that is that, you look at what you have and go, Cowboys are good. Cowboys are good at tight end. The guy Ferguson, he had an injury, plagued year, still caught, I think, 50 passes or so. Didn't score a touchdown, I don't believe. Or he didn't until late in the year. I don't think he did. Schoonmaker, played pretty good when Ferguson was out. So you have solid, you have good, solid to good. And you got to sign Ferguson again here, and that's probably going to happen too. They could sign Ferguson and Tyler Smith before Micah. They could, but if the tight end was the play here at 12, and you picked him up, then you're probably going to trade one of these tight ends that you have. I would think so. But the thing about a tight end is if they're really, really dynamic and dynamic as a great route runner, understands where to be on the offense, but also can block, that is a weapon. That's an absolute weapon, and we see it with the Chiefs. It's all they really need. And that's all the Patriots really needed. They moved receivers just like the Chiefs do. But you see the staples, the quarterback and the tight end. And you can do a lot of different things around them. So I see some value there. I'm not saying that's the move, but if that's who they view, then you're probably going to have to trade one of the two that you have. But if he's that good, then he can be a weapon, because what it does with mismatches against the defense can be really good. We see it with these dynasties. We see the tight end is a big, big part of it as well. All right, let's go to Rob in Vegas.
Hey, Nick.
What's up, Rob? How you doing?
I'm good. How's everything?
Good.
I wouldn't be against getting Warren, the tight end, at 12, or even trade down a little if they pick up a second wide receiver in free agency, Lockett or whoever. If they address that, then picture that offense with CD, let's just say Lockett and Warren at tight end, and then you get a running back in the draft. That'd be a really
all right
good
with
offense. That? Oh, yeah, definitely.
Let me just say this, and I don't know if Tyler Lockett fits this like he used to or whatever, but the word that I keep hearing that what the Rams guy that went to Seattle, Cooper Kupp, what he didn't have really was the juice. That was kind of the thing. For what they were going to have to pay, didn't have the juice. The guys that they are looking for, and Steven said explosive, but the guy they're looking for has the juice. And I don't know if that guy's in free agency. That's why I think it's a trade. They're looking for a number 2 receiver that's got some juice. And that.
Well, I agree, but you also have Turpin, who's got all the speed, and you could put him at the slot receiver, and then you don't need a burner at the number 2. That's what I would do. I would try to get the ball in Turpin's hand more than 2 times a game. I don't like him as an outside wide receiver, but I think in the slot. But everybody's talking about Micah Parsons, and as a fan, I think we were all hoping, ideal situation, they sign him before free agency, and then they go spend money finally, and they go get a Greenlaw, or they go get some of these top guys. And once that didn't happen, Jerry's not in no hurry to sign Micah. He's going to drag this out. He'd rather be in the news. It's going to get done, but it's only April. He's like, I'm in no hurry. I don't plan on spending any more money in free agency. No, any more money, any big money. So what's the hurry? So I'll ride this out to training camp like they always do, and then they'll get Micah done. You can't, and now you're going to hear things like leadership. Listen, that is such a fake term when it comes to players. You look across football through all kinds of years, the leader of the team is the head coach. I don't care how great the players were. Tom Landry was the leader, as great as Roger Staubach was. Jimmy Johnson was the leader of the team. Michael Irvin was maybe vocal, but no. Jimmy Johnson was the leader. Bill Belichick was the leader. I don't need my players to be the leader. And if they have to be the leader, that's a problem. And that's the problem we've had for the last few years with these head coaches we've brought in. So to me, that's fake. I mean, like I said, Lawrence Taylor is the greatest defensive player that ever lived. He wasn't no role model on and off. He didn't like to practice, and forget about what he was doing on Friday night. But come Sunday, he was the baddest mother on the field. And that's all that matters. So they'll get it done. But right now, it's April. It's like, let's drag this out. I think Michael would have took less. But now that he sees, number one, it's $40 million out. And now he sees that Jerry's not going to invest that savings back into the team the way Michael wanted it to get done. He's like, nah, I'm not taking less. So it'll get done. $40 million, 160 guaranteed. Who knows what? Yeah.
Well, I don't know about the term leadership. I really think what the Cowboys are looking at here, and they've got to be somewhat worried about the fact that they don't have a good recent track record with these second contracts. Now, I did the list of 6 players.
Yeah, but they've never had a player like this.
Either way,
Lamb, as great as CeeDee Lamb is, he's dependent on the quarterback. Micah's not dependent really on anybody. You turn around, you put Micah here, and you say, go get the quarterback. And we've seen that's what he does best. Is he great against the run? No. But he's great at going after the quarterback. And let's face it, last year he really had no help in that position. Now he does. Now you got Dante Fowler, who is good at going after the quarterback. What's his name? Williams is back. He'll have help. But to me, he's the guy that you pencil in for 5 years. And unless there's God forbid, an injury, this is what he's great at. I don't see him slowing down. He's in his prime. So I don't see this being a danger. He's not a guy that gets into trouble. He likes to sit in his room or whatever and go on podcasts. Who cares? They all do it. I mean, I'd rather have that than him out on a Friday night, drinking and driving. So I'm not worried about Micah at all about, this may not work out. And the money is about the money. The money it just keeps going up. It's monopoly money now. You know,
Okay.
It really is.
All right. Well, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong in what you're saying there. Thanks for the call, Rob. My point would be, you know, he's the Lion, right? What's making him hungry? Keeping him hungry. You know, and if it's to be the absolute best of all time, if that's something that he wants to do, so then once he gets that money to keep showing that he's worth it and he can do all of that, great. For some reason, these guys that I have written down here, they haven't done that. They haven't taken that next step and really said, all right, you know, you got paid, and then now they're even better. CD had a pretty good year. His numbers went down, but he also, what he did and played through the injury and stuff like that, I think his numbers were still pretty high. But Dak, Diggs, Hooker, Steele, and Donovan Wilson really haven't done that. They haven't taken that next step. And you can go back way further than that. So you're right. Mike is kind of dependent on him to beat his guy. That, you know, beat your guy, get off the edge, disrupt the play, disrupt the whole offense, do that, and then he can be, you know, as great as he's been. And I agree with you, Rob. I don't think that will change. But all the other little things, you know, you want to make sure it doesn't become even more of a problem. Obviously, there were some issues between him and DeMarcus Lawrence that surfaced there at the end. It didn't surface, you know, before that, which is good. But I had heard that there was some talk there, mainly because it was more who's the leader of this defense, who's the guy, and you know, I don't think there'd be any question. There wasn't really a question once Micah got here who it was, and there certainly wouldn't be now if anyone else comes in here. But that's a good problem to have too. All right, let's go to break real quick on the Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back to wrap this thing up.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
There is no I in Dallas. There is no I in Hart either. No I in Blue Star or in Lone Star for that matter. And there's no I in how about them Cowboys? Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks, home or away, we rally together. We cry together. And we always rally cry together because there's definitely no I in Cowboys fans. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
To Cowboys Storyline.
All right, get ready for Easter's coming up pretty soon here. We got your Little Stars presented by Nuna. Will be Wednesday, April 16th. This free Easter-themed event is perfect for the little guys age 5 and under. Join us from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for fun activities, hopping games, and lots of sweet treats. Visit thestardistrict.com for more. That's April 16th, and I believe that would be at AT&T Stadium. I think that's where I would guess. No, it's at thestardistrict.com. All right. Whoever writes in all caps, nobody can read it. All right, let's go to Chris in Saratoga Springs, New York.
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm the one that got this train started with Tyler Warren. I see you're starting to warm up a little bit on that pick.
I mean, if he's the guy now you got to trade Jake Ferguson. I hate saying that, but I mean you'd have to say, all right, well, I mean you'd have to go acquire a draft pick by trading him. But if that's the one, I mean, I just feel like tight end's not your problem. I think they can win with what they have here, and I think you can go and fix some other positions because you don't have that. You know, you don't have a Jake Ferguson at a lot of other positions, that type of level. So I don't think you necessarily need it. But hey, if he's that good and if he's the guy that they absolutely adore, then yeah, why not?
you said we need a left tackle, right? Wouldn't a good blocking tight end like this guy help out that left tackle as well? Give you that other option?
No. No. And I say that because I'm not drafting the tight end at 12th overall so he can help me block my left tackle. I mean, help my left tackle. No, I'm not doing that. And I understand what you're saying. He's got to be a guy that can do both. Sure. But he's not going to be the 12th overall pick because he's pancaking people. It's because of the plays that he's making down the field. So I'd like to get a left tackle who can just be the left tackle and doesn't need any help. Maybe call me spoiled, but that's what we've seen with Tyron Smith over the years.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, but he's got to be able to, when it's time to run the ball, he can get down there and do the dirty work. That's what would make to me, an elite tight end can do both of those things. And sounds like he can.
My other thing is the comment about the explosive wide receiver. What are your thoughts on a player like Tyreek Hill via trade, obviously?
I think you're on the right track. I don't know if it's him, but I think you'd be on the right track there. But yeah, I mean, it would be a guy like that for sure.
Yeah.
Just gonna say that.
And my last comment was I read something that Shoddy was giving my man Brock Hoffman some props about his tenacity and how he likes him as a player. And he's another one that I said I just love him at that guard position.
Yeah, I mean, he's perfect for your team. I mean, you have a guy like that on your team is great. And he may not be the most talented, but let's just keep saying that. Because that's what's fueling him. He's just like, all right, well, you want to draft someone else? You want to pick up someone else? Cool. You want to bring in, Rob Jones or whatever? They brought in the guy from Miami. Brock Hoffman's probably met him, hung out with him, exchanged numbers and all that, and then goes home and says, all right, you want to draft? You want to sign another guy? Well, watch this. So, great teammate, but also fueled by the fact that he's just not getting the starting job, and he has to keep fighting for it, which is what he does. He's a fighter, and we see it a lot of times in the game. So,
I agree, 100%.
All right, Chris. Good to hear from you.
Thanks, Nick.
Have a good one. All right, let's keep moving here. Let's go to Irene, Falls Church, Virginia. What's up?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. So let me track back. I actually, I've been calling in, but not listening to the full show as much. So I've been catching up, and I wanted to answer a question Zach in Atlanta had for you, but I thought I should answer it too because I thought the question was cool about what position you would play. I always loved the tight end position, and I felt like that kind of fit in with your Tyler Warren conversation today. But the idea of somebody having to be smart enough to go out, run routes, and block, I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. So that's it doesn't mean I want him at 12, though. I think I don't want that, but you could sell me on it. You could tell me on it with Lockett or somebody else maybe in South Florida who might want to be traded. That would be cool. Anyway, all right. So I'm kind of the set the scene person. Last year I asked you what draft day was like, but I want to know what Brian Broaddus calls lying season is like for you guys while you're in the building right now. The information. Do you feel like your people are not necessarily lying to you, but giving you less and less during this time? Is it just quieter, or did they ever steer you wrong? All right, I'll take it offline, though. Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily lying season. And it's that one press conference that I absolutely hate is the pre-draft press conference, like a week before the draft, all that. They get out there and they talk and they ask questions. It's like, what are we really doing here? And I'll never forget 2016, Stephen Jones just talking about the value of running backs, just not what it used to be, and it's just not something you can really, lean on. And then they draft Zeke with the 4th overall pick, like 4 days later, 3 days later, something like that. So that right there is when I was like, what are we doing with this press conference? But it's fine. You talk to the right people off the record. Yeah, you can get a little bit of information on what's happening. And because it's not necessarily lying season, go look at the guys that are doing their last mock draft, their 8.0 mock draft or whatever they get up to. I see them, everyone does their mocks and they change them and all that. But the last one that they do, That one will be, pretty good. And it's because they're talking to the right people. And they get a good understanding of what teams are wanting and needing and all that kind of stuff. I do have one of my favorite stories about that. It was the envelope we were getting that one of the old scouts who's not here anymore, but he was for a long time, and he gave me an envelope like 2 weeks before the draft. I mean, this thing was sealed shut. Like, you're not getting it. He taped it like 4 times. It says open on draft day. This is 2004. This is when the first and second round were on the same day. And so, all right. And I put it up, and he'd come by and be like, "You still got that? You haven't opened it." I'm like, no, it's up there. Opened it on draft day. Well, draft day comes. The Cowboys had the first round pick, like 21st overall, and then they decided to trade it to Buffalo. So we thought they had some running backs that they liked. We thought it was going to be Steven Jackson that year and a guy named Kevin Jones and from Virginia Tech, but they ended up trading. Parcells was the coach, and they traded it, and they moved back, and they got 2 picks in the second round. And then I thought it was going to get Tatum Bell. They ended up being Julius Jones was the draft pick. But all along, it looked like they were going to get one of these running backs in the first round. But so they ended up getting Julius Jones. Well, later that night, I totally forgot about the envelope. I was like, oh, let's open this up. So much has changed. That was crazy. That was back when they had a first-round pick. And I opened it up, little piece of paper, said Julius Jones. I was like, what? Because that wasn't a guy that you talked about in the first round. And then even when they moved back, Tatum Bell was going around saying that Parcells told him they were going to draft him. And he ended up going to Denver, I think, 3 picks before. So they were probably going to take Tatum Bell. I don't know, but it was Julius Jones. And so I always thought that was kind of interesting. So when we talk about getting, steered wrong and all that, and I've gotten an envelope a couple times before. And another time it was the pick. It was a guy named James Martin, which probably shouldn't have been the pick. So that's not a good thing. And then another time it was a running back that they did not draft. It was the year that they got Felix Jones, but they ended up, the guy that was on the card was a guy named Jonathan Stewart from Oregon. Might have played for the Panthers or whatever. So, sometimes you get it. Sometimes it's hard to really get ahead of the draft. I say it every year. You just can't. You can be prepared for. It's hard to get ahead of it. That year, though, 20-something years ago, the Cowboys were. All right, let's go to, is it Anthony in Miami's next?
Yes, sir. Nick the Quick. What's up, my guy?
How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, Nick. I know I'm at the end again. Not going to say I'm last. I went back in the lab. I hadn't done it in a while. No raps. I just want to recite a quick poem. I need about 80 seconds.
Oh, my goodness.
About my Cowboys, what I want, and my Cowboy fandom. It's gonna get you, Nick. Trust me. It's good.
All right.
It's good. You ready?
I think we have to be. Let's do it.
All right, then. Here we go. Cowboys for lifer. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm Anthony in Miami, and it's about that time to chop it up with Nick the Quick, C. Beamer, my boys from StoryLine. It's a show I call along with hanging with the boys to laugh, sing, and bring all that cowboy noise. Emin and Tony D, they're my all-time faves. Micah, I call them the anomaly, and Dak are my boys these days. Trades, free agency, drafts, no matter the reason. Anthony supports his Cowboys in and out of season. Players and coaches, they change in time. But I'm that type of blood diamond Cowboy for lifer that's so hard to find. So 2025 Cowboy season, I welcome you with full embrace. We will win our 6th Super Bowl. But if not, as Mr. Jones says, give us some grace. Ooh-wee, I want that Aston bad. One great back. I see a number 1 offense in our future with him, CD, and Dak. So to all the haters, doubters, and bandwagoners alike, keep that misery over there while I drop this mic. There you go.
That's good.
The talent section is back, baby. Zach, where you at? Where my boys at?
All right. All right, my man. Thank you so much for that. We got to keep it moving. That was good. Good stuff. That reminded me of one of those Adam Sandler movies where he's like, "I bring the beers. I'll bring the beers." That's what it reminded me of. That was good though. Maybe we need a little bit of music there. But I could ask Chris to do a 46 things and be the DJ as well. Good stuff. Good stuff, Anthony. I liked it. Let's keep it going though. We've got William. He's the OG. He calls himself William from West Virginia. What's up?
How we doing, Nick?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Enjoy the show as always, and I'm looking forward to the draft this year. I was wondering who you thought would be your choice for a running back for the Cowboys in the draft. I would like Anderson from Ohio State. If we could get him in the second round, that'd be my choice. And my second comment, I've seen it going around social media where people are saying, well, should Tank Lawrence be put in the Ring of Honor one day? Look, I had a lot of respect for Tank. I thought he played really well, and I enjoyed him being here, but until Harvey Martin gets in, I don't think you can even have that conversation. Just thought I'd get your take on that.
Yep. You know what? Leave it to you to ask that question because I was actually driving in to work this morning and I heard that talk about, is he a Ring of Honor guy? And I thought to myself, if somebody asks me that on the show, I think I have to say Harvey Martin.
Yes, sir.
And you're right. You're 100% right. Now, the Danny White, Tony Romo thing, I'll argue it. It's different to me. But not when it comes to sacks with Harvey Martin. If you're not going to put Harvey Martin in, then there's no way DeMarcus Lawrence gets in at all.
I know one thing. If I ever met Danny White, Nick, I'd go up to him and I'd apologize. I'd say, sir, I took you for granted for all those years. Those 3 straight conference championship games, I'd owe him an apology. I promise you I would.
Yeah. Well, he was a really good, solid player as well, and different time though in the 80s as the Cowboys were just losing players and that dynasty ended and they weren't the same, and he was the quarterback for it, and so it was tough. But you're right, DeMarcus Lawrence, a good player. He was a really good player. I don't think he was a leader. Like we would talk about leadership, and there will be people that think that he is and was. I don't know about that, but I just think it's unfortunate that he made those comments. I thought they were unnecessary.
Right.
But and he's not going to win in Seattle. Like he knows that. Like he knows that. But that's okay. He got paid. It wasn't about that. It was about getting paid. And so
people jump on Micah for his podcast, but guess what? They forget that Harvey Martin had the beautiful Harvey Martin show back in the day on the radio. So Harvey was a trendsetter back then too.
True, certainly was. But so he's making it. Harvey Martin and the sacks that he has making it really hard for anybody at that position to get in, unless you're D Ware. But I mean, I don't even think DeMarcus Lawrence would get in over Too Tall Jones.
I agree with that 100%. I agree. Yes, sir.
Anyways, all right. Well, appreciate the call. Good stuff as always. You got anything else?
No, I'm good. I'm looking forward to the draft. Love the show. You keep doing what you're doing, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you. You said running back. Yeah, everyone's so focused on Ashton Genty, and I don't think it's going to happen. I feel like he's going to be picked higher unless the Cowboys make a trade there. But Hampton from North Carolina here, good. Is it Caleb Johnson? Is that the running back from Iowa? Again, I'm not as polished on it as always. Henderson, you've mentioned from Ohio State. I mean, I've seen the one play that pretty much doomed Texas' season when he caught that one right before the half. But that shows the ability, catch the ball out of the backfield, but also home run hitter. I mean, that's the kind of guy that you definitely need. And he showed at Ohio State because there's a couple of guys there. He showed at Ohio State, you can be able to split carries and be ready to go. And that's what the NFL is. There's really not a lot of bell cows anymore. You got to be the guy that can come in when it's time for you to step in and make play, even though you haven't maybe played for 2 series or so. Keep yourself ready and at all times. And so, I think a lot of these running backs, they do that in college now. So they're ready to share the ball. All right, let's go. We got one more caller here. We've got Casey in Los Angeles. Casey.
Hey, Nick. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. First time, long time.
There we go. Look at the pause. I love it. All right, what do you got?
I just want to build on. I hope there's really smoke to the Keenan Allen talk. I know he's not a speedster, but this guy is unguardable on third down, and he could really help the offense on third down and red zone, which obviously were areas of need last year. So I know you still have to get a speedster there, but I love the fit if the price is right.
Yeah.
And I think, every year teams have to reset and rebuild. You lose a ton of players. So I'm always an optimist, and I think you get the right free agents in there, which I think they've done. Hit a draft class, we're going to be competitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not a doom and gloom guy, and I think Keenan would be a great fit for this squad.
I do too. I mean, I think that would be. I like that move more than I like Lockett, because I think he's a great route runner, and I think he could kind of serve to the same thing that Brandon Cooks did as far as helping younger guys develop and learn how to run routes and I think. Again, that his job would be to make plays. His job isn't to do like what Brandon Cooks did for Tolbert was outstanding, but it's not necessarily your job. But if Keenan Allen could come in here, do some things, and again, I don't know if that's happening or anything like that. I'm just saying a guy like him that could come in and show a Ryan Flanoy, Jalen Brooks, Jalen Tolbert, this is how I work, this is how I get better, this is how I run routes. Then I think that would be beneficial, and I don't think it would be a progress stopper. Really, that's what the fear of getting an older receiver right now is that are you stopping progress from someone that can help you, and also you're going to draft a guy too. So, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all, and hopefully if that did happen, I mean he was in Chicago and Eberflus was there. I mean Eberflus is coaching the defense, but still from a connection there of what type of guy he is, he should have that.
Yeah, this cat was absolutely money. I watch all the Charger games, too, and it'd be a great benefit to the squad. Like I said, I'm not worried about him stopping progress. I'm worried about this team not scoring touchdowns. I think he can help on that, too, and on the third downs, it's a great fit.
Fair point, for sure. So,
all right, thanks, Nick.
All right, man. Appreciate the call, KC in L.A. Wraps it up. 13 calls. We'll take that for sure. All right. Well, don't go anywhere. We got Cowboys breaks coming up right now. I'm sure they'll have a lot of draft talk and a lot of other stuff about Jerry, Micah, and all that good stuff, just like you guys did. All right, we will do this again next Wednesday for sure. Stay tuned for that second show. We'll be adding it at some point. Hopefully, we'll be adding it in to the lineup here in the next week or so. All right, for Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. See you next time on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!